Ahoy, hoy, friends, and bask in the glory that is the greatest hair ever seen on Star Trek. And welcome to the Salon. Tonight, The Search, Tough Little Shipping. That's right, we are talking about Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Season 3 opener, Episodes 1 and 2, The Search 1 and 2, aptly following Season 2's not a cliffhanger technically, but great ending with the Jem'Hadar. So get excited. We're going to get into it. Before we get into it, there is some fun news that tried to share it from the official accounts, but our friends over at one of the many Trek sites have a nice picture of it. Exciting stuff. Strange New World Season 3, as you know, coming out in just over a month and a week-ish. We are getting 10 new episodes of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, and the titles came out today. I will admit that Episode 7 made me think of the Undecided Voters sketch from SNL. When is the election? What is Starfleet? Let's talk about it. And to talk about it, I got to beam in the crew on the small stage. Let's bring in Trevor. Let's bring in Benji. Let's bring in Joanne and Will and Krista. Favorite title, go. Trevor.
A Space Adventure Hour.
Benji.
The last one.
Joanne.
Wedding Bell Blues.
Will.
The Salat who ate his tail.
Krista.
The Salat who ate its tail.
All right. Now we're going to know who was right objectively about their subjective opinion in just a month and a week. Get excited. Strange New World Season 3. And also get excited. Nearly a full crew today. Hello, friends. Welcome. Before you talk, all the podcast things, please like and subscribe, and then they will be able to talk. If you don't subscribe, you won't be able to hear from these fools. We are on all the podcast places, and we are, of course, here on YouTube every Thursday, unless we take a day off, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. We're also over on Patreon. You can give us a couple of your hard-earned coins to get even more of our nonsense. Much appreciated. Helps defray the costs of the salon. And again, here on YouTube, please like and subscribe, share with your friends, etc., etc., etc. Nonsense out of the way. Hello, friends. Are you ready to do a search? Are you ready to find the founders? Who's excited? You're all excited. I know that you are. And in order to begin our search, we simply must set an intention.
This is obvious, but don't forget to set an intention when you light it, or you're just going to be wasting the wax.
It does make us chuckle every time. I enjoy it myself. So to set an intention tonight, I thought, in honor of the ruse of half of this episode not actually happening, I thought it would be fun if we went around the room and talked about an episode of Trek or a character in Trek who we wish had been a dream, an hallucination, a holodeck program gone wrong, but basically an episode or a person that never happened. As always, I will start us off, and I'm going to go in the way back machine, and I'm going to say the episode that I constantly use as a reference point to criticize the original series, which is Spock's Brain.
Not the sexism one. Spock's
no, because there's plenty of which sexism one. I'm going to need you to be more specific.
Exactly.
So rather than blowing up the original series and having like 10 fantastic episodes and nothing else happening, I thought I would just eliminate that one. So I'm going to eliminate Spock's Brain. Yes, there's more that I could eliminate, but I don't want to steal anybody's thunder. So let us go around the room. We will start right next door. Hi, Joanne.
Hello, Trev, darling.
What shouldn't have happened? Let it out.
So, please send all of your comments to revjospy@gmail.com. remember me.
Oh, she didn't like it.
Ooh.
And our first Bev alert of the evening.
Oh yeah.
Ugh.
I'm a, you're not required to tell us why, but I am curious.
I think it is just trash. I hate I hate everything about it. I think it's sickly, just too precious, sweet. Who cares? I hate it. I hate it. I think all I like is, and that's how the hallucination could come up, or it'd be a hollow sweet, is how we discover, Wesley is special. Um,
Mm.
so that could have been we had to just find a way to let you know. I don't know. But I just wish it were all a dream
It does
or
feed
or
into
trash. Yeah.
it does feed into the traveler, not Wesley, but the original traveler being extra creepy. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't add. Yeah, it doesn't
The
amplify
groomer.
that. I was trying to avoid using the word. But
Using
yes.
that word on the queer podcast.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Not saying
Like I
groomer
said,
during Pride. But moving right along, Will, my dear.
Well, we all know my choice, but I'm being silenced.
I forgot.
My choice. My choice is being removed. They're silencing a gay man. They're silencing me. They're stealing my voice because I want to say Barkley because I don't give a
That was
fuck.
so our viewers don't know that the actual instructions specified that Will couldn't say Barkley. So
Well, guess
Will,
what,
other
bitch?
than Barkley,
Guess
other than-
what, bitch?
you're gonna say mirror Barkley. No, I'm
Always
kidding.
Barkley.
But besides Barkley,
Ugh. I don't know. I didn't even think about it because all I care is that he just doesn't exist. But I mean, like, it would be funny if they found out that Neelix was a hologram. They were like, oh, like Neelix died partway through and they just never said anything, and they ended up being like an EMH or something. That would be funny because he doesn't ever really leave the ship at a certain point. He's always kind of there. So it would be funny that they're like, oh yeah, he died. And we just left him.
When could he? He was making meals for like 130 people 3 times a day.
I mean, yeah. Anyway, yeah. But insert any annoying character here.
Love it.
For my
Benji.
answer.
Benji.
Unfortunate frozen face. There you are. Benji, your tech issues persist.
It's got to be
controversial and a non-controversial tariff, sure. Well, I could go with low-hanging fruit, which is These Are the Voyages, which is just like basically all just confirm it is already a skeleton. So,
Benji, I feel like you're going through.
I wish is that card.
Benji is a hologram
Benji,
right now.
yeah, Benji's going through a wormhole right now from the motion picture.
Let's jump to Krista.
Well, I have the low-hanging fruit answer, which is Nella Darren. But if we're gonna say an entire episode, I'm gonna have to say the one where the woman is born out of the egg and she's like the perfect woman,
mate.
Broodmare.
Femke
Jensen, who I mean is
on the top of
breathtaking, but the whole premise of that episode is not even it like exceeds offensive
Jean Grey.
It was creepy
for women. The entire fucking episode is like, wow.
Stan's just gonna recite her IMDb while you answer the question.
No, she's fabulous. I don't mean to remove the actress. I want to remove the entire episode. The entire episode is a misogynistic, wet dream circle jerk of epic proportions that I can't. It's just offensive on
You're not wrong.
many levels. So I'd like that one removed, and also Nella Darren as a runner up. If I have time to spare, we'll X her out as well.
If you must.
I know you enjoy her.
I just want her to get together with Moresta Gale. It's fine.
No, I understand.
Well, I am disappointed in all of my racist compatriots because none of you said code of honor.
That's easy. That's self-evident.
a not low-hanging fruit picking a low-hanging fruit.
Well, that said, I will give my slightly more serious answer because we shouldn't erase that from history. We should learn from that bullshit. But I will say everything from Skin of Evil on, and I choose to exist in the universe where Tasha lives.
Okay. Expansive.
It's a fun one. You need to clip this, have it ready on your phone, and show it to Denise when we're in line.
Yes. This is my what if suggestion for the animated, completely rip off Marvel's What If, a Star Trek What If where Tasha doesn't die. Kill Worf instead. Anyway, the intentions are set, and an excellent one as always. So now we gotta talk about these episodes, The Search 1 and 2. So let's kick things off with our level 2 diagnostic.
Calibration is locked and normal. Diagnostic underway.
I will kick things off. I love these episodes. They do a lot. A lot happens in these episodes. And I think they are a really great example of why, for me, Deep Space Nine is one of the greatest entries in the franchise as a whole. And any accurate top 10 list is going to have several Deep Space Nine episodes. Maybe not these two specifically, but I do think these episodes exemplify why Deep Space Nine is so great, because you've got so many things happening here. There is a bit of a tonal shift for the series. We got the introduction of the Defiant and overarching plot points moving towards the Dominion storyline, having this big bad that we're trying to find, figure out, be prepared for, especially coming off of the season 2 ender, where the Galaxy class Odyssey, which of course is a stand-in for the Enterprise D, like that episode very explicitly said, had the Enterprise D been there, it would have been destroyed. We get a bit of a tonal shift, and we have all of these wonderful character moments. We get character development for Odo and his relationship with Kira, for his backstory, why he's so gruff. And we, of course, meet the founders, which is really exciting, not just for Odo, but for the show. And then we get a bunch of little bits for literally everybody, including in a accurate yet still over the top experiment. Like, I love in the second episode, so many things are very, very accurate. Like that, what they are being made to hallucinate about Garrick, very accurate, makes sense. That's how he would be. And then these over the top choices of like Starfleet and Admiral Nechayev being like, you know what, it's fine. We're going to abandon our commitment to the Bajoran people. We're going to let the Jem'Hadar kill Romulans on the promenade. Whatever. It's totally fine. And so like, it is both grounded and insane at the same time. So this episode is also a lot of fun. Those are my top thoughts. I'm excited to get into it. Krista, what were your top thoughts on The Search 1 and 2?
Excuse me. I really just, as soon as it started, I thought this is like a comfortable shoe. It's the kind of shoe that the sole has formed to your foot, and it's just such a great series. My go-to is TNG, but this series is actually my comfort series. And I like that what struck me this time around, because we did Thumb Wars. So what struck me this time around was that this series, the thing that sort of distinguishes it from all the others, in my opinion, is that it's not so much sci-fi as it is an examination of the consciousness of human beings, the way people interact, how they create relationships amongst themselves. That seems to be kind of the driving examination of like, what is your purpose? It's not as, it's more relatable, and it's in a sci-fi environment, but the themes that they present, the topics that they choose to really elaborate on are just about human nature and what makes us us, and how do we interact with one another. So I'm going to enjoy all of these two-parters. I really don't. It doesn't matter to me really what the subject matter is, because it's just such excellent writing. And I'll go with my, and another thing later. I'll have my Columba moments later.
Benji, if you've come out of that tech issue wormhole, what were your top thoughts on these episodes? Nope, she's frozen in time. Ageless and evergreen, but whenever Canada wants to just accept these tariffs, pay them, and get your internet squared away, we'll come back to you. So sorry, Benji. Will, let's go to you while hopefully Benji can get that squared away.
Yeah. The obviously these are great episodes. Like the setup for the Dominion, the Odo, the founders being Odo's the same species as Odo, and like they're well written episodes. I do think they do in some regard a little bit too much. I think the subplot with the fake, the simulation, it could have been for a different episode. It would have been more interesting if we didn't focus on that, and then there was maybe something out. Like I just think that they don't give, it doesn't, because there's these two kind of disparate plot lines kind of happening simultaneously that they split off and then dovetail back together later on. It does feel like they are doing a little bit too much. And watching it, it's not that it was really obvious, but I was like, oh yeah, this does seem really strange, doesn't it? Because they got back really quick, and anyway, there's a lot. But I think in terms of like two-parter episodes, I don't even say that this is really like a 2.5-parter with the Jem'Hadar, the episode prior. I think this is a really good setup for what comes later down the series, and a testament to the writers getting to do what they want, like away from Rick Berman. But yeah, no, they're great. They're great episodes. Both of them are great. Yeah. Joanne.
As usual, I find myself agreeing with Norman in the chat, having watched this unveil real time. Finding out who the founders were was amazing. Just like, oh, what is going on? I am not a ship girl, but I love the Defiant. It's probably the only class of ship, because it became, I guess, a class of ship that I can recognize, and I love it. So it's my one ship that I appreciate in Star Trek. So for those reasons, I do find it exciting. Although I do agree with Will, like the holograph thing was a lot. I would have been satisfied to just kind of have Odo meet his people and unpack that without the simultaneous, well, let's see what they can do kind of deal. Because them linking with Odo really would have told them, I think, kind of most of what they needed to know, quite frankly. So yeah, there's that. But at the time, you couldn't tell me that this episode was not the greatest thing ever. And it probably doesn't have the same power on rewatch for me, but I still enjoy it.
I think the only disappointment for me was that some of the things that were teased in the TV guide at the time about the Defiant did not come to fruition. Kids, ask your parents what the TV
I'm
guide
sorry,
is.
the what?
Mm-hmm. Fucking bitch.
I couldn't get to the mute button fast enough.
You're not that far behind me.
No, I know. I have
mean,
the TV guides for the Star Trek covers, plenty.
All right. But there were some cool things that were teased that the Defiant would be able to do or had about it that never sort of came to fruition just because reasons. But learning that was our only way of learning that something new was coming. That was our only. There was no buzz on the internet because there wasn't really an internet. The Odo and Founders reveal it was a different time, y'all. Like there were no spoilers. Nothing was being leaked ahead of time. Nobody was. I mean, I'm sure people were getting quick. What is it called when you get the show in advance?
Screeners. Please stop sending nerds screeners, please.
Yeah, I'm sure there were people that were getting them. It just wasn't everyone who has a reasonably attractive website and a following. Am I triggering? Sorry.
No, we're known for being messy, so I'm all for it. Guess in the chat which one of them we're talking about.
If you don't want me to be messy, you need to tell me before I pour the margaritas.
All of them.
Yeah. So, anywho.
Also, we will take screeners. Yes, thank you.
The DS9 two-parters really are. The DS9 two-parters really are going to be the antithesis of my hatred for two-parters. I really enjoy all of these, with probably the exception of I'm not a huge Maquis 1 and 2 fan, and as it turns out, we're not talking about those episodes this month, so yay. There's not a lot wrong with this. I actually loved, just to kind of be a little contrarian to my Salon friends and loved ones, I'm going to push back a little bit on the fakeness of it all, and that yes, it was a lot to cram into the fake reality of the Nechayev of it all. Was a little bit to cram into this episode with the Founders and all of that going on. But I loved the idea of the Founders engaged in this kind of experimentation and research. That they aren't just basing things off of a feeling. They're not just watching and getting information from satellites and from spying. Like, they're straight up fucking with people in a way that is incredibly invasive, incredibly inappropriate. I mean, it's kidnapping and brings about all sorts of different levels of consent issues and manipulation issues and torture issues, and I'm not encouraging any of those behaviors, but that they're that cold is very chilling.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoyed the aspect of making them that much more bad as a bad guy, and then we learn later on they add layers of them also being very fearful of strangers and outsiders, so that sort of makes the perfect storm of a villain. But I liked that aspect of them being like, we know we're fucking awful, but let's just mess with people to make sure that we're right in our awfulness.
Yes, 1,000%. And speaking of top thoughts, we got perhaps the best ass pick in all of Starfleet with this episode, with that cunty reveal of the ship, right? I love that.
It
the
was a
rear
choice.
of the ship is what they show us first. It's just
That's
hilarious.
what I'm saying. That was a distinct and never again seen choice. Like, the first time you see a starship, looking at it from behind is certainly.
This is the queerest show, and it's why we're talking about Deep Space Nine during Pride Month. Also, happy Pride Month, everybody. Speaking of pride and cuntiness, this hair slaps. I don't care what anybody says. It's my favorite. Will hates it. I
It
think
looks
they
like a
could've-
fucking tumor. She looks like
could've put
the
Gloria.
alien from Aliens. It's fucking terrible. They did her dirty with every hairstyle. Then they put her in that fucking low pony because she's got that thick, gorgeous hair. I can't fucking stand it. Whoever did that to her is not a friend. She pissed someone off. Some faggot was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get her today." She did something. That is hair retribution.
The same people that would dress Meghan McCain on The View.
Karmic hair tumor.
Yeah.
It looked a lot like what was the bad guy's name? What was that? I'm probably going to misuse the term, but the petulant twink guy at the side of Nechayev.
Oh, the Vorta?
Oh,
Yeah. What it started
Yeah.
with a B.
Yeah.
Borath.
Borath,
Borath. Yeah.
I think.
Love me.
And you actually used the term correctly.
Did I? I mean, every time he was on the screen, I was like, you cunty little twink. I love you. But his hair it was the same day they did Jadzia's hair.
Yeah. Whatever.
I try not to comment on hair for reasons, but it was not good, Stan. It was not good.
I think they could have adorned it a little bit better and gone with like very trill jewelry in the hair.
This woman's at work. Why is this a fucking hair show, bitch? This woman is at work.
It's sort of like you're sort of like
oh no,
saying
the women must dress up.
You would
It's
be
a fucking
prettier
hair
if
show
you
thing
styled
happening.
more.
It's fucking crazy.
I
This woman is
apologize.
basically a
to the
park
women
ranger. Give her a low pony and let her live.
her mirror universe look was pretty fierce.
It doesn't really matter because Terry Farrell, they could have put her in a sack. It wouldn't have mattered.
She could have done with a real cunty bob. Like I think she could have done like a cunty bob situation. Like
no bobs. Bobs are
Hey!
over. Shut the fuck up with bobs. Bobs.
Give her the lol haircut.
Yeah. No, just square.
No.
Guys, the fact that you're going to confuse people. You're going to confuse people who don't know why we're called the Salon, and they're going to show up, and we're just going to have like a 20-minute hair argument, and they're going to be very confused.
It was a hair crime. That's not it. It was a hair crime, but that's all right because you know what? The best part about this episode or this combination of
that's not a cunty bob. That makes her look like a penis.
Okay.
A mushroom.
That is penis hair. Mushroom.
Please respect the dead. Will
She looks like Trump's dead.
She's not dead anymore. She got absorbed into fucking data.
Oh, that's right.
I think that counts. I think that counts as a problematic gay alert.
You know what? Yeah.
Problematic gay alert.
She was a mushroom penis absorbed.
Quote. Yeah. Quote. She looks like a penis is definitely a problematic gay alert.
Whatever.
I mean, if that's not one, what is?
You know, that's right. But back to Deep Space Nine. Let's search for what we're actually talking about tonight. I know. Queen of segues, I am. Let's kick it back to Jadzia for a second, because something that I do want to talk about is, like I said in my top thoughts, one thing that I love about these episodes is the little bits that we get with other characters like Ben and Jake. That bond is always lovely to see, but the scene where he refers to Deep Space Nine as coming home and having brought stuff out of storage with him, a really lovely moment with Jake. And then Jadzia comes in and they get some really interesting moments where we hear more about, like Ben used to want to be an admiral and Curzon and now Jadzia, like, I just don't see you being behind a desk. You want to, like, we start to see more about the military tactician that Ben Sisko is and how we'll get more of that later on. And again, his bond with Jadzia, which was just lovely to see. Anybody have thoughts that they want to share on those bits before we get into the A plot?
I like the highlight of good, everybody leaves. Okay, so the highlight
Well, now
of what a what a truly great friend Kira is to Odo. Like, she goes to this planet. She knows right off the rip that they're pretty xenophobic. They want nothing to do with her, and yet.
See, this is why I can't go blow my nose. We're not talking about the A plot now. Agenda. It's a great segue though. Nobody wants to talk about Ben and Jadzia. Let's talk about it. Take it away, Krista.
No, I'm done now. We can talk about Jadzia until my tits fall off, if you would prefer.
You have to put your hair up first.
And smile more.
I do. I need to smile more. I would be more approachable.
I had to blow my nose and wash my hands. I'm sorry I had to drop off the screen for a minute and completely derail the salon as I do.
Yeah, because it's your fault that the salon is derailed.
Well,
it's all of
everybody.
us. It's our powers combined. This is literally Captain Planet.
Indeed.
I didn't understand how they couldn't figure out that Achaev was like a pod person. Like she was like right away a pod person.
Yeah.
How do you not know?
Who has thoughts on
That's
Jadzia?
all I have to contribute. Someone else.
Yeah, I no, that's funny because like now that I think about it, like it's funny how she like acts like she seemed like she acted very different than she did like with Picard than she does with Cisco, but like it is like she does come off a little like a little like turned up to 11 in a way, which I guess is like a choice of the actor to try and that's probably an acting choice and like something directorially that happened, but like it is really funny because it's like, oh, she's such a bitch in this one, more than like she doesn't call a woman a bitch, but like she's a little bit harsher than she usually is, and I'm like, oh, okay, but like
it was subtle at first, and then you're right, it got to an 11 very quick. Like it was very like, so they should have known something was amiss. Like they had, I get that they had to move quickly to shut down the wormhole because they were that terrified, but like right. I do wish that there was one moment of like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. Why is this like this admiral is just accepting the Jem'Hadar doing whatever the hell they want? Like something's amiss here. And then like we don't like somebody say that. Hell, even throw a bone to Julian for him to be the one who's like, this doesn't make sense, and Ben to be like, you're right, but we don't have time to like we gotta handle what's right in front of us. Because it was literally like, yeah, they can kill Romulans. Who cares?
Yeah, like she like Garrick is her friend or something. Like and Garrick's like, what's up with this lady? Like or someone like or Jadzia knows her. Something where it's like, oh, like there's a little something where it's like, oh, you're different somehow. Yeah, but I don't know. I find that actress interesting. Zachev is just like an interesting character, just as like just barreling through. Anytime she's on screen, stepping on everyone's toes.
I do love her.
That's definitely the missing scene, though. There should have been a Admiral. Can I speak to you for a moment with Cisco? That wasn't him bursting in and screaming.
Yeah,
yeah, not him bursting in and screaming at the Dominion twink, and not him just accepting what was happening, but just saying like we get a nice relationship eventually with Cisco and Admiral Ross. And they have a lot of just one-on-one conversations. It would have been nice to see him doing that with Nechayev. It also would have been a fun twist on the character of Nechayev to have a really strong relationship between herself and Ben Sisko versus the horrible relationship she had with Picard, so that it's not a Nechayev problem. She's not this two-dimensional, just rough admiral. It's that she and Picard just don't get along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it also plays into the idea at the end of part 2 where the founders are talking about how, if you can control something, then you can protect yourself. And it also struck me as interesting that as you see more happening on the space station and then the Romulan gets shot, like nobody's putting 2 and 2 together. Those that would actively oppose any forward progression of this treaty are somehow excluded from the treaty. Like it was very specific who was not included in these talks. And the one person who was included is Nechayev and Petulant Twink, and they're both he may be acting as he normally does, but she's acting very strangely, and nobody's putting that together. And then you have to remember that it's all a simulation, so it's not really happening. So it's kind of a mind fuck after you get there. You're like, oh, well, none of it happened anyway, so whatever.
Commander Cisco.
But I liked the idea that you know, Odo is there and he's wanting to belong to something, and Kira is next to him going, you know, supporting him regardless of how she feels about it. She's still supporting him while trying to also sort of wake him up to the idea that you already do belong to something. You belong to us and with us, and you're a part of us if you would only open your eyes to see it. And you know, he doesn't seem to have a problem with the way his Great Link people, his true people, you know, have nothing but disregard for Kira, disdain for Kira, disdain for solids. Like it didn't bother him to have these things referred to. Like, it's in their kind of racist, prejudicial things to say. And he didn't seem bothered by it and wants to belong to that. And I was like, that's interesting in the sense of like human nature wanting to belong to their own group and the kinds of things that you'll subvert in order to belong to your own group. Sorry, not as much fun as hairdos and mushroom cocks, but a point.
Points were made.
You thirsty bitch.
In the arms of the angel.
Points were made.
Anybody else have thoughts about the simulation? Admiral Nechayev or Garrick? Joanne, you've been quiet, which is fine, but I want to make space.
I don't have any thoughts. That's why. But no, I don't have any thoughts about that.
I wonder how much time Borat spent close talking the people while they were incapacitated, particularly the male incapacitated. Like, was he real close to Bashir, whispering in his ear? That's a missing scene.
The Vorta?
You know, yeah. You know, he's a predator. He's a predator. He was taking advantage of that. I can see it. It's a head canon.
That moment is so funny too, where
he's a close talker.
Yeah, it's weird. Well, when like that moment where he's like, "Oh, the Vorta are the leaders of the Dominion," and like there should be a moment where Cisco's like, "The fuck you are!" Like, there's no way that those little sniveling people are like the leaders. Like, I would immediately like, no, you're middle management at best. No. I've been like, where are they? I've been looking around. Where is the actual leader? It's not you. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm seeing twunk. I'm not seeing twink. Like,
Well, we haven't seen his pecs.
is that what it is? I'm like, he looks old. So
He's a twink. He's a dead twink.
he's a twunk, right?
Out of the age. Yeah.
A twas.
There you go.
A twas.
Live on the Salon, Joanne's calling twink death.
Call him out. But yeah, let's talk more about Kira and Odo, because I completely agree with Krista. Thought it was a wonderful showcase of their friendship. Like, it also, I think it sets up a really interesting dynamic between the founders and solids. Like, their prejudice against solids comes from a place of vulnerability and having been harmed, but also a deep misunderstanding and, you know, a prejudice against, like, oh, these people over here hurt you, so those people now here are being treated the same, which is insane. Like, Kira is actually the one who is helping nudge Odo towards being part of the Great Link for just a hot second. She's like, these are your people. This is what you've wanted your whole life. Stop interrogating them. Like, just enjoy this for a second. It's a really lovely moment. And Nana, of course, just acts her whole ass out in this episode, from in the shuttle being like, we should be going back to the station, but okay, I'll support you, to being that supportive friend when he's meeting his people for the first time, but also not losing sight of like, hey, I gotta go try and contact our people, but doing it in a way, like she even says, I know how to do this without telling people where we are. It'll just look like background radiation. So she's actually showing more respect for the founders than the founders are for her. And she's just lovely. Other thoughts on Kira and Odo? Will?
Yeah, it's a great. I think this episode really showcases their friendship a lot, and how even in the beginning where she's like arguing with Cisco about bringing him on the trip or bringing him out to go search for the founders and everything, and like the idea that she cares for him in a way that the founders can't care for. I don't think the founders care for anything else. Like, they only care for power, really, in a certain regard. So her caring for Odo, I think, is a good example of how the solids are not a threat. And it's Nana just acts her ass off this episode. It is an interesting, like, how, like, she's the one that's able to nudge Odo in the correct direction, even though the founders who meet him and are like, these are your people, he eventually rejects them because he realizes what's wrong with them. So he goes, this what you're doing is wrong. So it's a lovely, we've seen it a lot, but I think this is really, it's a great, you can't control it, can't hurt you. It is a great, we've seen a lot of at this point in the series, there's been a lot of really good, like, moments for the both of them, but I think this is really the anchor point that we kind of really establish their friendship and the intimacy they both have with each other, that will then makes their eventual actual relationship make sense. Because if without, I think, a big episode like this, I think it doesn't make a lot of sense a couple seasons down the line.
I don't think it makes sense then. I really wish it would have stayed just this deep platonic friendship, kind of almost a mirror to Cisco and Dax. That, you know what I mean? It's complicated. They've been through a lot together. They're radically different people, but they still love and support each other deeply without there being, I don't know, just this level of romantic love as well. I don't know why. Well, all of television is just resistant to that. Um and the power in that, um that friendship is the ultimate model. But I won't talk about my irrelevant thesis this week. But but it really is, and we're just afraid to explore that. But I do think it was, a great kind of way to establish, their connection. But I really wish it just would have stayed that kind of connection. So I don't like the turn to them being romantic partners at all.
The execution is what I didn't like personally, but I agree. Either do it differently. Like, I've talked about this before. I think after her Jantara, it should have been Jadzia that helped nudge Odo and Kira together more organically over time, rather than like give us six seasons of Odo just pining after her, with Kira absolutely not interested whatsoever, and then shift on a dime. Versus, like, imagine after the Shantara, like Jadzia seeing something and being like, Kira, he cares for you very deeply, like,
Yeah,
explored it more organically if they were going to do it.
like it makes sense for Odo to be kind of like obsessed and infatuated, because again, he's not of this world, and he doesn't understand, and so he's mistaking, you know what I mean, what, like I said, is this deep friendship for, the only relationships I think that he sees and kind of understands. And I just think it would have been just so much greater for Kira. Like you said, she's been not interested for however long until they switch, and just be like, I do love you and I care for you and I would die for you and all of those things. But, we don't got to sleep together, because Kira also comes off a lot of like she likes who likes her. And I've always just found that to be not Kira, right? But when it comes to her relationships, if they're into her, next thing you know, they're in her quarters. So I'm like, come on, Kira's not like that. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm not slut shaming. I'm a world class whore, but that's not Kira, right? So I don't know. I didn't like that part of her character. So
That might be why I love Kira so much, because that's very me. Like, oh, you were polite to me? Okay, fine, whatever. You're handsome and polite to me. You can do whatever.
Stick it in.
Whoops.
I want to try to fix this for Joanne.
Wait, before you fix it, we gotta acknowledge.
Problematic gay alert.
Okay, fix away, please.
Really? All I had to say was stick it in?
Problematic gay alert.
Take notes, y'all. That's all it takes. So I'm going to attempt to fix it and say I agree with Joy. I never liked Odo and Kira as a romantic couple. I think it would have played off much better had in the Mirror episode they not killed Odo off so quickly. And we found out that Odo and the Intendant were lovers. And it could even be, and you could go ahead and push it again, I don't give a shit, some interesting explanations for why she was so fond of his ability to change shape during certain actions couples engage in.
Mushroom cock.
Odo was absolutely fully functional, right? Yeah, I get it.
Oh yeah.
This is for a different segment we're not doing tonight, but I do think this is the more apt.
I did fall asleep reading a particularly erotic chapter in my grandmother's journal.
Oh my God!
We accidentally made it ho.
Yeah, that made it. Yeah, that made it ho. That wasn't a problematic gay or ally alert. That was making it ho.
We did make it ho. You're right. Because the whole I'm sorry, when we get to season 7 or whatever, and he just turns into mist and wraps around her. I've been in fog. It doesn't do that. It's just sorry.
Well,
Yeah,
he's come
he
a
was
long
in
way.
her pores. He was in her. That golden shower was everywhere.
Oh,
I did fall asleep reading a particularly erotic chapter in my grandmother's journal.
I'm glad I'm getting more used to that.
He's come a long way from experiencing
Come?
life. He's from experiencing life as a rock, which was apparently very disappointing. Very disappointing. I literally in my head went, it's a rock. What is it supposed to do?
To become a thing is to know a thing.
To know a thing. I know the rock.
What have we not
I wonder
talked
go the rock cried out, no hiding place. But no.
Get ready for Salon 5 another episode coming to you hopefully in about a week or so, I think. But searching back for this, it doesn't work.
Do it anyway.
We talked about Kira and Odo. We talked about Odo and the Founders. We talked about what have we not talked about? I feel like we're ahead of the curve in this episode.
We didn't talk about Terrell.
Teseska.
Yeah. We didn't talk
Crystal,
about Bashir and Garrick.
Wait, that was Seska?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Girl.
Yeah.
Cheekbones.
Cheekbones gave it away.
There's a
Mind
not a
blown.
funny. Yeah, there's not I guess not a funny tidbit, but she was supposed to become a recurring person like Eddington, And then eventually they kind of abandoned it because they're like, yeah, she doesn't really work. Like there was a moment where she was supposed to be kind of a recurring character, and they're kind of disappearing. Is interesting, but like it would have been interesting to have like a Romulan serving with them at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So Eddington is the one that comes later and Cisco has beef with, right?
I think, yeah, this is his first episode, I think.
Yeah.
Correct?
The
No one
delay.
said that. Wow.
It was like
Okay,
10
so
seconds
late.
later. It's great. I love it.
But yeah, this is, I think this is his introduction, this episode, that receding hairline.
What?
Bless her. What? I was talking about you.
We didn't talk about Bashir and Garrick. The reunion.
Oh yes, that's something that I loved about the
Missed you for lunch.
About the simulation was both over the top, and yet they got some things right. Like I'm very curious about that technology that we do not see the Dominion use ever again. It's like Nechayev was like subtle at first and then to an 11, but Garrick was Garrick all the way through. And I had the same reaction Norman did in the chat. Like when he got shot, I was like, absolutely not. I remember when I first watched this episode, I didn't see it in order. So I think I knew things were fine. But at first I was like, absolutely not. You can't do that to him.
Real life Garrick would have kissed Bashir as he died.
That's the tell right there.
Yeah, maybe
because it was he's cradling him like, and then they're having to pull him away like, but no,
I can't join you for lunch, dear doctor. Little kiss on the forehead.
Yeah.
It's like a little jerked him off just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just
little,
for science.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, little handy J, little handy J.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh shit.
Which one?
I did fall asleep reading a particularly erotic chapter in my grandmother's journal.
Always a long.
I'm very excited I get to use that more.
It's so stupid. I love it.
The mist. I'm very proud of myself using Canva to get this mist right. Look at.
I did fall asleep reading a particularly erotic chapter in my grandmother's journal.
Oh, it did move.
Yeah.
Okay, but for the record, Norman was correct when he called it out, that every time you do that, it's not only an accidental make it ho, it's also a veveler.
It is, indeed. Mm-hmm. Two things can be true.
We'll be revisiting this at the end of today's episode. And Trev will be getting another.
What else have we missed before we move on to our final segment of the evening? Hearing none.
I couldn't figure out how the changeling lady or person could blame the solids for Odo never being able to exercise the full potential of his powers. Like how the fuck would solids know what his full potential is? And P.S., you're the one that then says you downloaded a compulsion to return home into his DNA. Did you not think to add in the information about his extraordinary powers simultaneously? Like, what was the fucking point?
Also, hey, lady who left your baby on the doorstep, maybe not bitch about how it was raised.
Exactly. I was a little salty. I was a little salty about it, and I wanted to sort of I wanted Kira to, because she was standing right there, and I kind of wanted Kira to like go, excuse me, as the solid in the
rude.
Scene.
Just Kira being like,
rude.
That was rude. That was pretty fucking rude.
And irrational. It's just completely irrational.
We have a word for that on Bajor, and that word is rude.
Yeah. Bitch.
You know what? You're a real bitch when they're like leaving. She's just like, you know what?
She takes her earring off.
Yeah.
If
You
it
know
were
what?
the
I wanted to
mirror
say something.
universe,
I
she
didn't
would
know
have
it.
said,
Busy.
"You're just going to be a cunt about it.
Yeah. So it'd
Give
been
us
like,
some
you know
mirror
what?
universe."
I will have you know, when Dr. Mora tried to get him to explore his gifts, Odo didn't like it. All right. Yes, some electricity was involved. Let's move past. How dare you? Rude. It's time.
I have to go to my bucket.
You know what? That works as a segment. Let's make it row.
I always thought Starfleet had a lot to learn from me, Captain.
I want to hear from our intrepid crew. Who is the badass of this episode? My make it row is going to Kira for being the friend we should all be to our friends. Slow down, enjoy the moment, don't interrogate these people. I support you, even though I don't think we're doing this the right way. I'm going to fake a job for you so that you don't leave. Like she did everything for Odo. She's my make it row for this episode. Krista, who made it row for you?
It would be Kira. Nobody else was actually alive and not part of a simulation. So really, Kira and Odo were the only real ones. So Kira.
Will, who made it row for you in this episode?
Jadzia's neck for carrying that fucking hair tumor. that conjoined twin made of hair. That Chewbacca helmet she had to wear.
This one?
I hate it. It's the comb on the side. It's like a mohawk almost, but a flat top and a mullet. It's awful. It's her neck. That's what made it row. Holding that fucking shit up.
Is a flat top mullet a flullet?
It's also a mohawk, so it's a flullet hawk. I don't know. It's
a flow hawk.
I want to ask her about it, but anyway, get that shit.
I am going to meet her
I'm
at
not
STLV.
looking at that anymore.
A flullet. A flullet.
Maybe instead of. So my idea at STLV this year was to get people the autographs that I'm going to get in Nana's book, Open a Channel, A Woman's Trek. It's an excellent read. Everybody should get it. But maybe I'll just print that out and ask her to sign it. Just her hair. Joanne, who made it row for you in this episode?
For me, it's Garrett, because even in simulation, he was like, y'all are not used to dealing with real gangster type shit. So let me nudge you, guide you through this, right? So, Garrett rising to the occasion, like, I'm the real gangster of this crew, right? Yeah.
It was still himself. He's like, oh, I read it in a book once. I like his asides about how he knows something to fake his undercoverness, always hilarious. It's something I overheard once. Like, what?
A welcome break from hemming females' dresses.
Trevor, who made it row for you in this episode?
For me, it was Borath.
Nice.
I'm sorry. I love a gay administrator. Like, he owns a label maker. Everything's like it's all perfection. Get the fuck out of her way at the copier because she's gay. Like, I just love her.
I'm not going to your fucking baby shower, Janice. Say that.
I don't like red velvet cake.
Dominion Twonk, yes. Excellent. Well, we've made it row. I believe it is time to land our ship. Remembering our segments this week. Trevor, can you give us the tallies and your scorecard, please?
I can. There were 3 problematic gay alerts. There was 1 problematic ally alert. There were 6 Bev alerts. There was 1 Ken dad joke. That was on you, Stan. We accidentally made it.
I believe there were 2, and one of them, I didn't call it out. About a minute ago, you got one too.
Oh, that's a third one. Well, actually, there were 2. So now
you know what?
3.
You know what? Yes,
And there was one Kenwell, actually.
That's a fair call out.
Don't
Trevor,
make me
I will
pick who to
put
live
myself-
with in the divorce, please.
Don't make me hit you with Jadzia's wig.
Anyway, back to me.
That's not a wig.
We accidentally made it Ho 4 times, and Will came once.
It's better than just like nowadays.
I took 50 points. I took 50 points away from Stan for trying to make Dax's hair happen. I gave 2,000 years of genetic manipulation worth of bonus points to Joanne for age shaming old gay Vorta. I gave 50,000 bonus points to Krista for basically knowing the real Admiral Nechayev better than the characters did. I gave 1,701 bonus points to Will for saying fuck the rules and killing Barkley anyway. And last but not least, I gave 5 million bonus points to Jadzia's neck. You all know why. Holding up.
Well, y'all, we did it. We got through the search. Always exciting. Touched on it, but for the audience, anybody who's going to be in STLV, 3 of the lovely people you see on the screen here will also be at STLV. That will be myself, Will, and Trevor. Matt from the Salon, he's still here, and currently working on his move across country.
He's been cloaked.
He's cloaked. Tarul won't let him speak on this episode. Sorry. We will be in STLV. We hope to see you all, so get excited. I spelled it that way on purpose. Are we talking? I see the chat, y'all distracting me. This is spelled this way on purpose. Demon twunk, demon tweak, dominion. It works. How dare you? I'm being attacked on my own podcast. It's wordplay. It's Canva wordplay, and it's what I'm known for.
Stan?
Yes.
We do have a robust employee assistance program if you need help.
Thank you so much. That said, we're excited for STLV. We are excited for Strange New Worlds premiering in about a month. But throughout this Pride Month, happy Pride, we will be continuing our discussion about Deep Space Nine. So get excited because next Thursday, we are, which one? Oh, it's Paranoia Syndrome. That's right. We will be talking about Homefront and Paradise Lost next Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, right here at Salon Trek. And until next week, like and subscribe, live long and prosper, and support the neck.
All hands abandon ship. Proceed to the nearest evacuation zone immediately.